gotta dream it, like you mean it. Embrace the vision, no need to conceal it. There's a masterpiece, the colors so bright. Aim for the stars, reach new heights. Align your life, don't let it design you. Chase your dreams, make them all come true. Dance to the rhythm, move with the beat. You're the creator, get up on your feet. Yeah, you gotta dream it, like you mean it. Embrace the vision, no need to conceal it. Vision masterpiece, the colors so bright. Aim for the stars, reach new heights. Design your life, don't let it design you. Chase your dreams, make them all come true. Dance to the rhythm, move with the beat. You're the creator, get up on your feet.
Peace, peace, peace. What's up? What's good? What's happening? This is Coach Bey, and welcome back to another episode of Design Your Life, the podcast where we expose you to and bring to light some phenomenal people that have crafted beautiful, wonderful lives around their dreams, their talents, and their aspirations. And today, we got a powerhouse in the house today. I'm extremely excited about our guest today. We go way back. So this conversation is like, that kind of like backyard, you just kind of hanging out with your homie kind of conversation. But let me make sure I do her justice in terms of an introduction. But it's extremely important for me that you understand what this is about. Design Your Life podcast is an opportunity for you to be exposed not only to people that have crafted a beautiful life, but also can give you some tips and some jewels and the strong belief that you can actually do it too. It's so easy, a lot easier to get it done when you see people that have actually done it before. And today's guest is wonderful. She is a mother, a wife, former Philadelphia high school basketball star, got buckets. She's an entrepreneur, former fashion stylist to the stars, she turned that in to become the co-founder and co-owner of the Crabby Shack in Brooklyn, a Brooklyn original. Featured in many publications. We don't have time to go down the whole list, but the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, the New York Daily News, Atlanta Black Star, CNBC's The Prophet, Renee Blewett's Netflix documentary, she did that. The Tamron Hall Show, she's a superhero, a powerful woman with a smile that just brings you in. One of the most down-to-earth people that you'll ever know, my friend, the phenomenal Fifi Bell Clinton. What's up, Fee?
Hey, Obed, what an introduction. Thank you for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. How you doing?
I'm well. How you doing?
Ah, man, I can't complain. When someone asked me, I was with the kids, and I think I had a moment finally to myself, and I was talking to somebody who's going to be on, and she's like, well, how you doing? I'm like, everything is cool, not too much, and she had to stop me. She was like, look, you're supposed to be the motivator, so I had to backtrack and say everything.
Every
Everything is going on. Everything, not everything, but everything, everything. So yeah, so thank you so much for sitting down with me, having a conversation,
No doubt.
and
Thank you for having me.
100%, 100%. So look, Fee, we're gonna start off. We're gonna start off in the beginning. I want to start off in the beginning. Take us way back to the beginning. Where you from? But what did it feel like, smell like, and look like growing up as a kid when you were a kid? What was that like?
I had a wonderful childhood. I wouldn't change a thing. I grew up in Philadelphia, and my mother is Japanese and my father is black. I had a little bit of adversity with that, just being slightly mixed race because I had a Japanese grandmother walking around in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
People would tease her or say like ching chong stuff, and I didn't like that at all. But
Yeah.
I got through that. But aside from that, I had like bilingual life where I do speak Japanese, and having both cultures, growing up with both cultures, fried chicken and then like sushi rolls, and just I mean it was phenomenal. And now I still do the same exact thing for my son. Growing up in Philly, I know you mentioned I was a basketball player, but I wouldn't have been if it wasn't for the local basketball court, the local playground in Philly, where most guys wouldn't let a girl play.
Mm.
Dudes around there, I was family, so I was like, "Yo, y'all gonna stop?" dissing me and not letting me play when you know you just scared, you know. I was able to play with them. I literally like realized that I can actually get out of Philly this way because I can play. And then I was
Yeah.
really trying, and I started to play seriously and got a scholarship and was able to skedaddle on out of Philly.
Okay, so we're gonna go there, but I want to know, what did your parents do for a living when you were a kid?
Well, my mom didn't work until I was maybe 8 or 10 ish.
Mm,
And then she worked at Benihana as a
okay.
hostess, and my dad at the time always worked in insurance the whole time throughout my whole life until he retired. He was worked
Mm,
in insurance. He was an insurance underwriter. But my mom also, after she stopped hostessing, then she took a stint at entrepreneurship and opened up a small cafe on 38th and Market inside that what is now a like a hall for people. I think we had our prom or something there, like a after prom. It's like a
hmm.
that on 36 in Market. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a orange building with blue windows. Anyway,
I don't know.
inside there she opened up a cafe and then it got robbed, but it
Hmm.
was like an in-house job. So they took everything and it was really hard for her to
Wow.
bounce back because they knew where everything was. You know, they took money, plates, I mean everything. So
Wow.
it was really hard for her to bounce back. And then she became a florist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a kid, we know about basketball a little bit, and we'll talk about it. But as a kid, did you have like specific goals and things that you dreamt about when you were a kid, or did the goals and the specifics around what you wanted to do, did that come later?
I will say this. I was definitely, I, my dad said, and he's right. I used to sell my toys to my friends. I used to charge 5 cents or 10 cents for you to get a ride to the end of the driveway back up on my bike. So I was
Okay.
always an entrepreneur, even when I was a little kid. I was like, yo, I
Right.
got the new bike. Who want to ride? 5 cents. And when I was like, people would always buy me dolls, and I wasn't really into dolls. It wasn't that I was just such a tomboy. So I
Mm,
wasn't into Barbie. So I sold all my Barbies. I did
mm-hmm.
love the Cabbage Patch, but I,
Okay.
like I said, I would sell my stuff. So one of the things that I knew about myself was if I saw a boy doing something super fun, for example, on his bike popping a wheelie, I needed to know how to do that. And it was like I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't stop until I got it and could say,
Yeah.
I'm doing it better than you. I was so annoying in that way. I was very competitive, very, very competitive. So I think
Yeah.
my competitiveness drove my goal oriented self because I always set a goal to be, I want to do that. And then I would do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to learn how to do that. And then around, you know, growing up without the iPads and stuff, there wasn't that much to do
Yeah.
growing up except playing and doing all this stuff. So naturally going to the playground, okay, how many times you want to go swing on the swing? So to be around people constantly, it was the basketball court.
Right. Right. Right.
Otherwise, you're just hanging out. And those people that hung out, I didn't hang out like just sit around the basketball court or hang on the monkey bars talking. That wasn't me. So I was always on the
Yeah.
basketball court. So it just was inevitable that I just picked up a ball and started learning how to play. Just because.
No, for sure. For sure.
Mhm.
Okay, so fast forward a little bit to high school, right? I know you, but the people don't know you. Who were you in high school?
I don't know. I mean, I had this like coming from Greenfield Elementary, I was definitely you know, I was like a good, decent basketball player, and I was also popular because I was friendly. So I kind of went
Hmm.
into high school thinking it was going to be, you know, fun and easy, but it wasn't. Okay,
Yeah.
my freshman year, I don't know if you remember this, but my freshman year, them girls from I don't remember their names, but they were juniors, and it was like watching a movie. I remember just you know holding my books. I had my book bag on one shoulder, and I had whatever book in my hand, and she bumped me, and I literally just dropped everything, and I was like, "What in the world?" Thinking like, and I
Hmm.
looked at her, but I just kept it pushing. Then she did it again, like either later that day or the next day. And then guess, word got around that she wanted to fight me.
Oh no.
And then it became a whole thing. Everybody in the school, and this was like freshman year. This is like the beginning of the school year.
Right, right,
And everybody, and I'm still nice and humble, but this
right.
changed me a little bit. Okay, I just have to say, because it was three of them. Two of them was really big girls, and one of them was skinny. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, how am I going to do this? So now I'm just using my noodle. I'm like, all right, how am I going to do this? As everybody from the whole school is walking, waiting for a fight, I was trying to act like I want to talk to sis, the skinny one, and the other two was still mouthing off with her friends, with their friends. And I
Right,
pull her aside and I'm like, yo, what is it? Why you want to fight me anyway? You don't even know me. We just started
right.
school. She was like, shut up, you think you all that or whatever she said, but I just didn't let her talk and I just went, bah. And we just started. I was like, I can't fight all three of them. Let me just get this one. And we
Oh
just
no.
started fighting. And then this guy Rob was on the basketball team. Can't remember his last name. You remember Rob?
You
Dark
talking
skinned Rob.
about you talking about Bridges?
Rob Bridges.
Yeah,
Rob
yeah, yeah.
jumped in because the other girl jumped in, and then he was like, "Oh no, y'all not going to jump my homegirl. Y'all not going to do that."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was just one of those things. But at that point, I sort of changed a little bit because then I had like this chip on my shoulder because I didn't want anybody to just see or think that I was weak, and that's why you just decided to try me. I just didn't
Yeah,
understand,
yeah.
and a lot of it, I definitely thought, people would say stuff about my curls. You know what I mean? So then I
Mm-hmm.
started straightening my hair so I can look like everybody else. It was
Yeah,
one of those things that girls go through when you go to high school. I'm no
yeah,
different. A lot of these poor. It's sad. High school's hard.
yeah.
It'd be
Yeah,
hard.
no, it can be a tough time, and for those who don't, I mean, you guys don't know Fifi. She's extreme. I said she's very, very down to earth. The smile she has, the energy is always basically been the same. But sometimes you do. And me and my daughter, we talk about standing up for yourself and the importance of that, just as a person in general, but specifically as a girl. So yeah, they brought the beast out for a
Yeah,
minute.
for a minute. And then
For a
I
minute.
found my crew. Then I found my, crew, and Tiffany Baban was one of them. And
Hmm.
remember Marquise, and I had a few friends that I knew, Sharon. And
Yeah.
once we found each other, then it was like I could like rest, but it was still just so in the beginning. And I just was like, what is happening? Now I'm walking around, I'm on a train, on a subway like this, like just trying not to look all nice.
Yeah, yeah, no. I mean that time was tough too, because I mean even as a guy, that time was tough because if you remember, there was that school boom,
Kato and
that
boom.
that Cato and Boone, and like I just remember like it was always after school. You know, them dudes would get on the train, and it'd be like 100 of them, and they just looking for problems. So, you know, you kind of had to always have your head on a swivel and just be looking out for yourself in terms of like just getting home safe. I mean, it was a long ride for me because I was coming from West Oak Lane,
Right.
and you know, you had to get from West Oak Lane to Broadnality, and Broadnality was some issues there with guys, and then you get on the train, and there's issues on the train, and then getting off the train, walking through the neighborhood, trying not to get robbed and all that kind of stuff,
Oh
just to get
no.
to school. And we went to ENS, just so you know, engineering and science was a magnet school for
It
very
was.
intelligent people,
Yes,
and
it was.
but that still didn't erase some of the mess that people brought in terms of their baggage, if you
Mhm.
will. Okay, so high school, we get through basketball, right? And for those who
Well,
don't
for a
know,
long
FIFA,
time, I had the record of 41 points in one game.
for a long time,
Yeah, for many years, I had the
yeah.
record. Some young girl beat me, but I think she only got 42 or 43. It's not like out the water, but yeah.
Yeah, no, no. Fifi was she was hooping for sure, for sure. I was on the basketball team. I definitely wasn't one of the stars, but I was on the team. Uh,
All right,
um,
good.
but going forward, right? I'm curious about, okay, so high school and then transitioning to college. What was that transition from an athletic standpoint, right?
Well, I have to tell you this before that. So
Okay.
it started in midway through my high school career. My coach retired, and then Coach Ryan became the head coach of the basketball team, but at the time he was the coach of the baseball, softball team.
Yeah, Mr.
So he
Ryan. Yeah,
didn't know anything about basketball, nor he didn't have relationships with these scouts and stuff.
yeah.
So I told, and one of the things I also forgot to tell you, when I younger, growing up, I swam with PDR. Don't, you know that? It's
Okay.
like a
No.
swimming. I swam with PDR. I also swam with
And what's
in
PDR? What's PDR?
um it's a swimming team, Philadelphia. Oh my gosh. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
right. Philadelphia Department. Okay, recreation.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, Philadelphia Department of Recreation. That's
Okay.
exactly what it is. Sorry, I
Okay.
couldn't even. So we swam for that team, and they made a movie about us. By the way, it's on.
Hmm.
You can find it. It wasn't specifically about me. It was about us, like the PDR group. But anyway, I told my father, I knew I was an excellent swimmer. I knew it. Like I could tell, like I was winning all the time, and they was sending me out to Pottstown and Doylestown, and my
Hmm.
parents could never come. So I was, in this individual. It felt like an individual sport because you waiting
Hmm.
that long for your match, and everybody else's parents are there. Molly and Sarah's mom are there, and but nobody had our team's PDR. Nobody's parents came to Doylestown to watch us play.
Yeah.
So I just didn't find any love. I just was like, Daddy, like I know I'm good, but I'm good because I'm just competitive. I don't love swimming. When I was 14, I was the fastest in freestyle in the state of Pennsylvania. Like
Okay.
I was, and that's why everybody was like, "Oh," so they wanted me to go to Central because Central
Okay.
had a swim team, and I got accepted. And this girl Dana, you don't know her, but anyway, she went to ENS, and we both played basketball or whatever. I mean, Greenfield. Anyway, so I was like contemplating going to Central,
Hmm.
but I guess I don't know what made me decide. I don't remember. I think I didn't want to swim, so I was like, "What's the point? I don't want to go to Central because I wanted to go to either Girls High or ENS, and I didn't get
Yeah.
accepted at Girls High." And I was like, "Well, I'm just going to go here." And plus, the basketball team, I knew that Central had a better basketball team, and I was going to get more playing time at ENS.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I told my dad, I was like, I promise if you let me quit, I promise I'm going to get a scholarship. So by my junior year, when Coach Ryan came and he didn't know what he was doing, I was getting
Hmm.
really worried. So I played for the Sunny Hill League
Okay.
in the summertime, and I met a coach from University City, a woman named Laureline Jones.
Hmm.
Lurleen Jones, I explained to her, like, I don't know if I'm going to get a scholarship. My coach is new, doesn't really know much about basketball just yet. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's happening. And then
Yeah.
she sent out some tapes for me on
Okay.
my behalf. And then the letters start coming in. And then Coach Ryan's like, look. And I'm looking at him like, you ain't had nothing to do with that. But but then the letters started coming in, and that's when I started like telling my dad, like he was always so busy, so he didn't come to my games. So every
Yeah.
now and then I would like leave the newspaper where I was written up, and I would like
Hmm.
leave it on that page at the
Yeah.
dinner table, and then he'll be like, "Whoa!" So then he started my senior year. He started making an effort to come,
Yeah.
and it was good. And so, I mean, again, this goes back to goal setting. Like once I
Yeah.
said what I was going to do, I made sure that I did it. And
For
it wasn't
sure.
like I was drinking and doing all that nonsense because I wasn't. Like I was
Hmm.
really playing ball and practicing a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a kid. I had my shenanigans, but I just
Yeah.
wasn't doing, like the most. Some of these kids that are doing stuff now, I'm like, what is wrong with you? I didn't have my first real drink until college.
I'm
Like
telling you. I
drinking
think
and
I had
smoking and
I
doing
had
all
my
kinds
first I had my first drink after the season was over in senior year. I never forget. I went to a house party with Will Bellamy and Ashlock,
of
and
stuff.
out in West Philly, and we was drinking Mad Dog 2020.
Mad Dog 2020. Wow.
Mad Dog 20. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what we could
Yeah.
afford back then.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's all you could. And we weren't supposed to be drinking anyway.
Right.
Um,
So
okay, so the letters start coming in.
yeah, and then I ended up, just I fast forward to, I chose a school. I started going to visits. University of Delaware and University of Hartford recruited me.
Hmm.
both D1, but I settled for a D2 school. And tell you why. I settled because out of all the schools, naturally, the coach was a black man. I
Mm-hmm.
felt very comfortable with him, and it was my first time going to be away from my family. So my dad and I both felt really good with this guy. He felt like my
Yeah.
father away from home. So that's what made me choose it. The school was really beautiful, and
Yeah.
I chose that school because that was why.
Yeah.
However, this is a disclaimer.
Okay.
Unless you Google me and decide that whoever's listening to this and you want to know what school that was, I don't like giving the school much play. I had a lot of racial tension and racial adversity that I had to the point where I had to call like NAA, like it was no joke.
For
Okay.
real.
Yes.
For
And the
real.
school got in trouble and then they started bringing more black kids in, but it was really bad.
Okay, so we're not gonna give them any play.
Yeah, don't play. At least the name.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that going to a PWI like that definitely,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was really happy coming to New York. I felt finally like I didn't feel like a place 100% because I was very different. I felt like I was different in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
trying to date the drug dealers, and I wasn't saying red, and I wasn't trying to be like, all that. And then I wasn't also, you know, this white girl. I was just somewhere in between. And I'll never
Yeah.
forget being in college, coming to New York for the first time, feeling liberated to be able to wear my hair really big and curly with nobody say nothing. Because there was a million other girls that looked just like me. And,
Yeah.
walking around with afros or curly afros. And it was just wonderful. And I was just like,
Yeah.
this is where I'm going to land right here. And I
That's
felt
what's
so
up.
at home. So, but I will tell you one other horrible story, but it's horrible, but it has a silver lining.
Yeah.
One of the girl, a black girl, got jumped at the parking lot in our school by three white kids, and they put her in the hospital for
We're
two
talking about
weeks.
college.
This is college.
Okay.
They put her in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
This is when the Black Student Union, which was all of like seven of us, we
Mm-hmm.
contacted the news stations and NAACP as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a candlelight vigil for her. And that was when I changed. I was like, you know what? You guys call me I did a speech. I wanted to. I was compelled to. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, I was like, you guys, I'm on the basketball team. So everybody calls me the Fiefmeister and the Fiefster. And, I'm sitting here, oh, what a night with you guys. But that could have been me. So now
Yeah.
you have forever changed me. I will never be able to trust you anymore because that could have
Yeah.
been me. And so
Right.
I lost a lot of respect and like love. And I felt like, even just brings sometimes emotional stuff to me because I felt like I got robbed a little bit because I became a
Yeah.
hermit. I like stopped fucking with all of them. Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just, I found my little, which I was so extroverted all the time and wanted to go to all the parties and
Yeah.
wanted everybody to know me. But I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm just going to do this. And I was still having fun. It was just that I was one of those people that just wasn't trying to be out there no more. I just was like, ah. So my college
Yeah.
life that way. And it was just one of those things where I was just like, I
And
don't like this
what year was that? Like in terms of like when your sophomore, junior,
junior,
senior year? You were a junior,
junior year.
so and your role in the team. I'm just
I
curious,
wasn't
like what?
captain yet. I wasn't captain until senior year, but I was
Okay,
starter in my junior
okay,
year.
okay. So you were one of the leaders on the team. So it was probably a big deal for you to get up and make that speech and speak as strongly as you did. I
I
would
did.
imagine.
Yeah, and it was very important to me. And other things happen, Obed, that I don't even like. It's just one of my proudest moments I have to say
Mhm.
is when our school during the end of junior year we went Division 1. Okay,
Mhm.
so senior year we sucked because we still had a Division 2 team, but we
Right.
were playing a Division 1 schedule.
Right.
So, but now we're getting all these like new coaches and new athletic directors, and my coach got fired, and it was just like awful. Okay. So,
Yeah.
aside
Yeah.
from feeling like adversity, so now the new coach comes, and now she don't like me. not because
Mm.
of no reason. At this point now, I'm the captain. I'm actually the best on the team at this point.
Yeah.
Um, that we had one big girl that was pretty decent, Terry, but me and Terry was like the girls, you know. Then there was like
Yeah.
there was other people, but you know what I mean. We were like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
captain. She would call me to the office and be like, "What did you have on last night?" And I'm like, Coach, I've always been fashionable. You know, I've always been. This is something that I've always had in me. So I would go to the thrift store, Goodwill, and find the cutest outfit, and then she'd be like, "What you was wearing?" And I'm like thinking, I just spent $5 for this outfit, and now you questioning me? Like what?
Mm.
So I said, Coach, what does this have to do with my performance? I come to practice early. I'm here. I'm putting in work. Like, what does this have? She was like, because you represent the team, and I want to make sure you're not looking crazy. I said, well, I had on a mini skirt and a shirt, and and like a whatever kind of shirt. And said a mini skirt and a shirt, which is what that girl's wearing. Like at the time, somebody walked by and
Right.
everybody was wearing that. I wasn't looking crazy. Like she just had
Right.
something out for me. So
Yeah.
fast forward to her trying to, she started one by one. She tried to, every black girl except one, she tried to take their, basically, she was making up reasons because she was trying to free up scholarship money. We were all on scholarship, you understand? And a lot of
Wow.
them, I was in my senior year at this point, but a lot of them had more time. So she was trying to
Yeah.
find reasons to eliminate them so that she can get their scholarship money. When she
Wow.
got to me, when she got to me, Obed,
Mm.
it's like television. It was like a movie. I busted
Mm.
into the president of the school. I didn't even
Mm.
go to the athletic director. I didn't go nowhere to the president. And the secretary
Yeah.
was like, "Excuse me, what are you doing? You don't have an appointment." And I bust in his office and I said, "President Leahy, let me tell you something. I am a student athlete. Check my transcript because I did. I graduated with that thing on. I was like, I had a B plus. I
With
mean,
honors.
still honor. It was not like A. I was not summa cum nothing, but I
Yeah.
still had
Yeah. Yeah.
like a really
No.
high average. So I was like, I'm a student athlete. I said, I've been here. I was like, and now because you guys decided to change your program to free up money, you gonna try and take my scholarship? I'm a senior. What are you doing? I'm finishing my education here. And if you don't, I said, you will have everybody on your back. You already saw what I did for the young lady that just got beat up last year.
Yeah.
So needless to say, the president called the athletic director. The
Mm.
athletic director called me and said, "You broke the chain of command." And I was like, said, "I sure did, but you can't touch me." Click. And
uh,
unfortunate part is this. This
uh,
is what breaks my heart. And this is why I can't stand in school. Yes, I was an advocate for myself and my education.
yeah.
I tried after I secured mine to help the other girls, but I
Yeah.
couldn't. I
Yeah.
couldn't. It's Tammy. Luckily, Tammy, who was the other good one, she was able to transfer, and Bridgeport University gave her a scholarship so that she can finish out her education. But the
Right.
other two, nada. I think one of them went back to Poughkeepsie, and I don't even know. I heard she had a baby. She was the first to go to college. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, it
Yeah.
was like that school just did me crusty, and I just can't stand it. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, I always try to look for the silver lining and stuff. I mean, obviously, that was a challenging time, right? And people who do those things, first of all, that are in positions of power, that do those things, yeah, they're lower than the lowest, but because they probably, you talk about the girl with the baby, they probably altered the potential history,
of course,
of those girls, right? So it's really unfortunate, and I think a part of this conversation for me, for people, especially little girls out there who are watching, is to stand up for yourself.
basically.
Is to stand up for yourself and
If I
not be
didn't, I would have
afraid.
been like one of them. I wasn't
Yeah,
afraid. I busted in the president of the school, who is the highest of the high of the whole entire school, his
yeah,
office, like it was nothing, because
yeah,
nobody was going to stop me. I wasn't the. I already knew the athletic director and the whole athletic team had an agenda, and it didn't
yeah,
include these girls that had all this full pay scholarships.
yeah,
And it was just the way that they handled the situation is just awful, and trying to, but my father was like, baby girl, I'm more proud of you than I've ever have. And I think that
Yeah.
it set me up because once I saw that you stand up for yourself, I continued my education. I graduated college just like I
Hmm.
intended. And I probably, maybe if I was hush hush or scared or waiting for somebody to kind of help me, it wouldn't have happened. So sometimes it
No,
just
and
happens.
a lot of times those things happen because you got authoritative figures. Those things get brushed under the rug. People. It's easy when you're talking about people's word. I'm going to take the word of authority versus the word of a student. But never be afraid to challenge authority when you feel it in your gut that you're right. When you know that things are wrong. And a lot of times we can become intimidated by the stature or by the title on the nameplate on the desk. But let's just keep it real. He just was a guy in an office. You know what I mean? He in the office wherever it was, but he's a guy in the office working his job, and there's no reason why you can't, especially if you feel in your heart that uh, the chain of command is not in your favor.
Right.
So I'm proud of you too. That's what's
Thank
up.
you.
Bust that door down. Did you have your Timbs on?
Yeah, but
Man, that's
I
crazy.
don't tell that story much. That one's
Yeah.
not something that I'm like, she stopped me from reaching my 1,000 points. I only needed 2 more games to get 1,000 points. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So that I
Wow.
don't really tell that story much. But, you
Yeah.
know,
It's a part of the journey, and I think the pain that people go through. Hopefully, the pain that we share here will give someone else some power.
yeah.
Going forward. So thank you for sharing that. So okay, so after college, what was your first move? What was your first? Because really, we talked about a little bit of fashion. We'll talk about that a little bit, but like we talked about basketball. We talked a little bit about like going to the thrift store and getting some cute little outfits. But like, I'm curious, what was the first move out of college, and then like, how did you transition into fashion? Because we really it didn't seem like it was like, for those who don't know, in Philly, I'm pretty sure it's the same now, but being stylish and looking right is really important, especially in West Philly. At that time. So I'm just curious, what was your first move out of college, and then how did that transition you into fashion?
So, part of the fun, once I found my little crew in college where I was not trying to be Miss Popular and everything, my best friend, who's still my best friend now, she came to college when I was a junior. She was a
Mm,
freshman. And she just wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. So it was great. And we found some
okay.
fake IDs and we was shopping and finding the right clothes, and it was so fun. So people started stopping me like, where'd you get this? How'd you, start stopping me and stuff. So we took a challenge and we started hearing about this club in New York called Life. And the only way you
Okay.
could go in is if you're fashionable. The guy comes out and he looks at your outfit and he's like, you in. And it was like
Okay.
ultimate, right? So at this point, this was my senior year and her sophomore year. And her and I went to New York and took the train and went to New York, got dressed. And my outfit this time, I found an old church choir robe. Okay. And
Okay.
it's a choir robe, and got the sleeves, and I cut it into a mini dress. So it was looked like a kimono really, but it was like a choir robe, and it had the thing here. And I sold it up and I hemmed it and made it a super mini, and it had on like these thigh high platform boots, and I put on
Hmm.
a China doll wig and these really big
Okay.
earrings and eyeshadow, and
Hmm.
I was like this, and he was like, fabulous in. I was so so that's when I said, oh my God, we're good. Then we like challenged ourselves. We didn't go every week, of course, but then like the next time we came, did the same thing, try to make a really great outfit. And the second time I lied and said I was Angela Bassett's daughter. And mind you, she was like young. I mean, she's old enough to be my mom, but like they believed it. It was so
Right.
silly. And I went in and so at that point I started believing in my fashion sense. So after
Okay.
college, I asked for my college graduation gift to be a ticket to Japan because, as you know,
Mm.
my mom is Japanese,
Right.
and wanted to do two things. I wanted to learn the language better, and I wanted to immerse myself in the culture.
Mm.
So once I got to Japan, I was going to teach English because that just seemed like the easy thing to get into when you're an American.
Yeah.
However, my mom, I'm not trying to be, my mom used to be a model. So
Okay.
she was like, well, since you love fashion, I don't know if all these people are still around, but since you're there, why don't you look these people up? And she gave me some
Okay.
names. And I went to this one shop called Junko Kushino. And when I went there, I couldn't believe it was by God, of course, because he just takes care of me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The actual designer, which never happens. When do you know, like, Yves Saint Laurent walking into his store? So
Right, right,
literally,
right.
Kushino walked into the store. I was literally going to just leave my name and with somebody there and see if I could get an internship. But
Yeah.
she walked in and I said, oh my God. So I went and I said, "Sumimasen, watashi wa Fifi desu. Nozawa Lidi no Musume." And what that means is, hi, I'm Fifi. My mom is Nozawa Lidi. And her eyes went big because my mom used to do like her campaign. So I know she knew
Okay.
my name.
Got you.
So when she said that, she was like, oh my God, you look a little like her. What are you doing here? How long are you here? I was like, well, I was here for, 6 months to a year, but I was looking for an internship. Boom, got it. Done. Like the
Wow.
next day, I started working. It was the most amazing experience. And then we she took me to Korea, and we opened up one of her stores. And
Okay.
I used to do like I designed the invitation for Fashion Week invitations. Like she trusted me for like big stuff. I
Yeah.
designed. I didn't design it, but what she wanted me to do is mood boards, so that my vision, because I was so new and she loved my fashion sense, and so she was like, just cut out pictures of stuff that you love and put
Yeah.
them categories. So I would just do like coats, outerwear, suits, and then the design team would like design stuff, and it was crazy. That was how they was doing it, and I was like,
Wow.
wow. And so after I was done with Japan, I moved back to New York for a little bit, lifeguard to save some more money, and then I moved to London because
You were a lifeguard?
in New York, just at the playgrounds in Philly.
Oh,
Oh,
got you.
sorry. I moved
Okay.
back to, sorry. I didn't move to New York yet. Right after I graduated college,
Uh-huh.
I went to Japan. I didn't move
Yeah.
to New York yet. And then I came back from Japan, and then
Uh-huh.
I moved to New York. So I was in New York for 2 years, just living. And I had my
Yeah.
first job was at Hugo Boss.
Okay.
And I just applied for it just like anybody else would. You see a job opening, and I went to an interview, and I got my first job, which was great. I was a sales rep for the Northeast region, and it was
Mm-hmm.
for a wholesale division. And then I got headhunted. Somebody called me on the phone and was like, "How would you like an entry level position at Gucci?" And I was like, "Is this for real?" And she was
Right.
like, "Yeah." So I was like, "When do I come for an interview?" And so I went for an interview and ended up working at Gucci, but I still wasn't happy. And I
Yeah.
really wanted to be a stylist.
Wait, I'm curious. I'm really curious about the cultural experience in Japan.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Okay. No, no, no. I'm just curious about that. I wasn't planning on asking that, but I'm really curious, because I think a lot of times, in this whole conversation, all these conversations and being exposed to people, how many people have never been anywhere, right? Never been anywhere. So I think a part of that is like when I moved to California, people were like, oh, surfer dude, like, they couldn't believe it. It was like an amazing thing, but really not all that amazing, to be honest with you. But I'm curious about the cultural experience for you because this was, you know, Fifi Brown girl in Japan, like, and so how were you accepted? What was your experience? I mean, I know you had a
Mhm.
terrible experience in college at the school we're not going to talk about, but how was the experience when you went to Japan? Because I can only imagine it would be different.
Well, so first of all, you have to know back then, I mean, okay, you know how old we are.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
back then, there wasn't that many but brown girls with just big hair. So I got a lot
100%.
of this. A lot of this. People just reaching for my hair, no matter what.
Right.
I got a lot. And I had to get used to it. But because Japanese people could be so nice about it, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't mind. What I did
Right.
do, there is one section of Japan that's called Roppongi. And Roppongi
Mm.
has a lot of where a lot of the American and European models hang out because
Okay.
it's where a lot of that area, a lot of people are English speaking. Okay.
Mm.
I met some friends and I'm hanging out with them and I'm like, this is not what I came here for. I didn't come here to
Mm.
hang out with Americans and speak English
Yeah.
and all of
Yeah.
that. Like I even had found a guy that was trying to date me like heavy, but
Mm.
he couldn't believe it. He was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "I can't see you anymore. I don't want to be. If I'm gonna date somebody, he's gonna be Japanese. Like, I'm
Mm.
sorry. Like, I can't. I will never learn the language the way I want to. Messing with you.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm
Right.
sorry. You're so cute. You're a model. You're handsome, but sorry. I know
Right.
they were like couldn't believe. Like I literally was this fun American girl, and we'd go out dancing, and I was like, actually, guys, I can't be your friend anymore. And I literally like I didn't pick up the phone. Like I just was very focused on what my
Yeah.
goal was. And then
Yeah.
once I started working at the job, I like became friends with them and they were inviting me and it was all Japanese. Everything around me was Japanese. And then um I found a boyfriend and the designer actually put me in her runway show and made my hair bigger than she like teased it, tried to make it a big old afro. And I was
Mm.
walking down the thing like this and people was like, wow, like I wasn't a model. So it was really weird for me to do that, but she just wanted me to be like this wow factor or whatever. So she made
Yeah.
me and it like whatever. I just had the best experience. I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
Best friend from college, she didn't
Mm.
finish school and she ended up coming to Japan because she was like, you having way too much fun. I'm coming. I was like, wait, what? She was like, I can't afford it anyway, like because her scholarship, she was on a basketball team,
Right. Right.
got taken away too. And she couldn't, she tried to, get financial aid and finish out, but she couldn't. And she was just like, I'm gonna finish, but just I'm coming to Japan. So she
Yeah.
came.
Yeah.
And then once she came, we got like she got a lot of opportunities. We started working, she started working as a waitress. I mean, it was just so much fun. I can't
Yeah.
explain. I went to, I went learned how to snowboard. I went to, Hokkaido. Like I met some
Hokkaido.
really great. Hokkaido is a
So
place where you go skiing and
okay.
snowboarding,
Okay.
and I went to Fuji Mountain. I mean,
Mm.
I went to a lot of places, and I really my family there was very impressed by me too because they were like, "Wow, you literally stopped everything." And because when I first got there, I think I was just so nervous because I didn't know enough of the language where I could
Yeah.
properly communicate. But once I started working and I just found a rhythm and I had a really great experience. I didn't have any racism stuff. I mean, believe me, there's
That's what's
people,
up.
but it wasn't if they did feel some type of way, they never showed it because they're just not
Yeah.
like, you know.
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, I had like 3 Japanese boyfriends.
No, that's what's up. I mean, I think the experience,
Mhm.
as a young person is so underrated. The experience of getting outside of your comfort zone
Yeah.
and experiencing different things. And we're going to talk more later about our tribes and the importance of making those decisions and boundaries. But I cut you off because you were talking about London.
So then when I moved back to Philly, then the same young lady and I who came, my best friend Corey, who came
Mm,
to Japan with me, we moved back to my mom's house. She came with me and we worked. I don't remember what she was doing. Oh, she was bartending downtown Philly, and I
mm,
was the lifeguard. So we saved up money and we moved to New York in October of 1998 and we hustled because my job at Hugo Boss didn't start until January 99. So I just
okay.
was waitressing until then, saving money and living my life and having fun in New York. And then I worked at Hugo Boss. And like I said, I got headhunted for a year and then I worked, so that's 99. And then from 2000 to 2001, I worked at Gucci. And then I decided before, oh, sorry. So my boss at Gucci knew how bad I wanted to be a stylist. So he
Okay.
said to me, he said, you talk about being a stylist, and I'm about to leave and go to Balenciaga. I can take you with me. I'm not sure, but you have to wait till I get there. He was like, but I'm worried and I'm going to leave you here in these people's hands. Because people was like, you need to take your nails off. We here at Gucci, we don't do the long nails. I used to have like long green nails, like every girl, like now, but they were
Yeah,
green
yeah.
and they would
Right.
like say stuff. And he didn't like that. He was really great. And he was like, but I found a program for you. He was like, and why
Okay.
don't you try it out? So, but I didn't have to quit my job, but I was doing this program at FIT, which is the Fashion Institute of Technology. And it wasn't a bachelor program, it wasn't a degree program, it was a certificate program, so I could do it after work. So
Mm.
I started doing it after work, and um, my teacher, we had our first big project, which was like a 8-page fashion spread. So I used myself and two of my friends who were, good looking, and
Mm-hmm.
I had like at the time traveling and stuff. I had like a lot of clothes that I had found and stuff, and just I
Mm-hmm.
had like some stuff that I wanted to show. And when she saw my shoot, she was like, I don't ever do this. She was like, but you don't need to be here. She was like, take this number and call this guy and start working. She was like, I don't ever
Mm-hmm.
do this. She was like, but you're a natural. And I was like, are you for real? She's like, call the number. You'll be happy. She was like, thank me later. So I called the
Mm.
number. I'm like, my teacher so and so told me you were looking for an assistant. I'm available if you need me. Guess what my first job was?
What's
It
that?
was In Sync. At the time, Justin Timberlake and In
Wow.
Sync was everything. And I was like,
Oh shit.
whoa, that was
Wow.
crazy. Okay. So I'm like steaming, steaming. I'm doing all of that. And so I spent the whole year of 2000. I can't, I think I'm getting my dates wrong, but I spent basically a year assisting. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I said I started building a book while I was assisting. I started doing my own photo shoots. But that's when I was like, you know what? I need to go to Europe because I'll be able to get even better fashion. Like I just want some more experience. I want more knowledge. I want to see more. At this time,
Yeah.
like all my European friends was just so much more next level than us Americans. I swear they were. And so I was like,
Mm.
I need to go. I want to see what that's all about. So
Yeah.
I moved to London and I was working coat check at this club to make money. Eventually, once I got my name out there, I was able to do the door. So I was a door girl, and they'd be like, "Why is this American? You don't know." I was like, "I know that you're not getting in, mate. How about that? Step aside. You can come in like that. Great." And but I worked for Jonas Halberg, best stylist I could ever work for. I'll
Mm.
never forget him. And he was a Swedish stylist that used to have the biggest campaigns like Zara and H&M.
Mm-hmm.
And when Fashion Week, when Fashion Week came, London Fashion Week came, nobody that I assisted in New York ever did this for me. In fact, people in New York would like either be intimidated by me because I was just a natural, or
Mm-hmm.
hating, or I don't know what it was. It just wasn't as giving. But
Yeah.
this guy I assisted gave me a pass that gave me all access. Nobody ever did anything like that for me. And not only that, after we would be done a shoot,
Yeah.
he would be like, take the clothes, go do a photo shoot, make your book look good. Just don't
Wow.
do what I did. Like he's just saying,
Right.
don't
Right.
copy what I just did. Take the clothes and do something else, and
Yeah.
make sure you don't damage it. No one ever let me do that as
That's
assistant
what's
in
up.
New York. So by the time I came back to New York, I had a full on book. It was time for me to like just be my own stylist.
Yeah.
It was hard to break in. Haters here in New York, man, it's just hard. Everything about New York is hard. So I still had to get another assistant job, but one of the jobs that I got was probably, it was like a high paying assistant job, but
Mm-hmm.
I traveled all over the world, and it was for working for Izod. I'm
Mm.
trying to make it as brief as possible. Did you want to know more about London?
No. No. Listen. No. You do your thing.
So I worked for Izod, traveled all over the world. When I say all over, I'm talking I went to Iceland, Alaska, all
Mm-hmm.
the islands like St. Bart's, like just so many islands,
As
Mexico.
a stylist
I was
for
working
fat.
Izod. Do you remember Izod?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All
Mhm.
those photo shoots where it looked like somebody was sitting standing on a glacier. We were really on a glacier. Like
Uh
it's
huh.
not back then. It wasn't photoshopped. A lot of
Right,
it is
right, right.
not photoshopped half the time. Most of these photo shoots are really in these beautiful places. But yeah, like I remember driving a four wheeler on sand dunes in Santa Barbara or whatever, and I was just like, this is the life. So I actually worked for
Yeah.
that company and that guy, Chad Kincaid, for like 4 years. So now I'm
Okay.
like a grown up. I'm like, what are you doing? You got to get your own, you got to start working, girl. It was
Yeah.
really scary because I was making good money and I was traveling all over and had an expense account. Like it was just, it was a good situation. I ended up
Yeah.
passing it down to one of my really good friends. I was
Mhm.
like, look, girl, I got a really great job and I got to find a replacement. It's like, you want it? And she was like, what? Yeah. I passed it on to one of my homegirls that I'm still friends with today. But I started going on my own, and it wasn't easy, but I made it. Alicia Keys, Usher,
Yeah.
did like the voter die campaign. I did like some. I did a Coca-Cola campaign. I did
Mhm.
the
The
biggest
Cheetah
thing that
Girls.
I was gonna say. That was it. Wasn't like my biggest dream job, but it was my
Mhm.
most highest paying job. And which is what, when I got that first check and I saw it, I knew that I needed to put it up because I was like, you're never going to get money like this again. And
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that, but I just
Right.
was so nervous. So I put that up. And luckily I had a friend that told me, put it in one of my girlfriends was working in finance and told me to put it in a money market account. And I did.
Mhm.
And then I met my boyfriend, my husband at the time,
Mhm.
and we went into that recession. Okay, now so it's
Mhm.
2008. I'm fast
Mhm.
forward now 2008 because
Yeah.
I worked with that guy for 4 years, and now I'm like trying to work on my own. And at this point, it's like 2008, and there was like a recession. And he's like, "Well, what about that money you got?" I was like, "What about that money?" I knew what that money was for. That was going to be like what when I was ready to stop styling. Because the other thing about styling is, these celebrities are great and all, but when they get
Yeah.
attitudes and think that they the shit, when you get older, you're not thinking that they're
You're
cool
not trying to
anymore.
deal with that.
No, now I'm like early 30s, and I'm looking at Usher like, homeboy, he's made a comeback now. But back
Yeah.
then, like he still was talking to us like millions, and this was during his little decline, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Remember when
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
all this mess happening with his stylist or whatever, all them damn girls that he
Yeah.
was messing with. It was just he wasn't that relevant at the time, and he was still
Right.
talking to us breezy.
Right.
And he also is one of the people that did something to me that he thought was funny. But we were backstage at the VMAs, and I was tying his shoe. And on my way up, I have on a dress, by the way, and high heels. On my way
Mm.
standing up, he pushed me back down, and I fell on my butt. And I looked at him. He was like, I was like, what? Like, why do you think that's funny? We are in the backstage of the VMAs. Like, why do you think that's funny? It really irritated me. And I knew at that point, that's when my mind started saying, okay, what's the setup for the next step? What's the setup?
Okay. Okay. So before you, first of all, I don't give a if you in the VMAs, if we in the backyard, if we like wherever, pushing the girl that like that. I got feelings about that just in general. And I mean, the whole entitlement around, I guess, being a celebrity and all of that kind of can play tricks on your mind. But before we go into the transition, a part of what I want is there's probably some girl out there or guy, that may want to get into the fashion industry. I mean, what would be a couple of tips or jewels that you might say in terms of like getting started? Like, what would that look like?
Well,
What would that look like?
in anything that you choose to do, it starts with a dream first,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I used to dream because I kept getting compliments of my clothes and whatever. I used to say, well, if I'm this good, then I could probably dress Beyonce or I could probably dress, whatever star. So I started really dreaming about that.
Yeah.
And as you dream all these things and you keep thinking about it, and the desire when you dream is also, it's almost like fuel for that dream,
Mm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
as you're dreaming and you have this passion behind it, then there's things that just start opening up for you. So like when I came back from London, getting that job, although it had me kind of locked down for a bit, I think
Mm-hmm.
it was timing because I think that I was meant to see the world. Number one, I was meant to see all those places,
Yeah.
meant to know what it takes to do such large shoots like that,
Yeah.
And I think timing, like I said, is everything. And so once I was decided to make my transition, I was nervous because you're freelancing, but I knew I had to put things in place. So one of the first
Mm-hmm.
things was before I left my job, like for about 6 months straight, I was taking hustling the streets. Here's my book. I'll do this shoot for free. I want to prove to you. So I would go to Vibe magazine and be like, I don't care. I'll just do it. Just give me a letter. I'll get the clothes and I'll do it. I'll go to all, like at the time it was like Source magazine, and I was offering my services for free. So not only did I get like a published image from my portfolio, but I was
Mm-hmm.
also introducing myself to people. And
Got it.
so up until that 6 months, I'd say I did enough of that groundwork, like a dream and desire, and then you got to put in the footwork. It's just that
Right.
simple.
Yeah.
So I I knew strategically, I said, okay, how much time do you want to set for this? Six
Mm-hmm.
months. If I wasn't specific about that 6 months, it could have continued forever. It
Right.
could, and I was very specific. Like I need this to happen in 6 months because I'm leaving this man this job in 6 months and I'm going to be able to walk away and do this. And I remember when a lot of the fashion shoots started going. So like in between jobs, you get worried, right? So then I
Mm-hmm.
would start to say, what is lucrative that I wouldn't think is super amazing to do, but would be really great? A Macy's
Mm-hmm.
catalog. It's annoying work. It's just a lot of steaming. It's like ladies going like this. It's no real fashion, but they
Yeah.
pay the money. So I started saying, how can I get into like, if I had a Macy's and a this, then I could do all these cheap magazine jobs that's going to make my name relevant because that's
Yeah.
what makes it relevant, but you can't survive that way. So it's very strategic. So what I would suggest for someone is to come up with a plan. Start with your dream. You got to also put in the work, and you have to have some talent, right? So
Yeah.
if you're a fashion designer, then you need to get the drawing, but you need to know what's happening in the future. Don't
Got it.
do last year's stuff. Do the future, what you think is going to happen, something super like different, and make sure your book is ready. And you have to have confidence, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
try, and you just got to take those steps until you get there. The same thing happened with Crabby Shack. I'll get to that,
Right.
but like
Yeah. I got a quote for you. Somebody, very strong woman, she once said, I was done. I want to work this hard, but for myself and answer to no one. You know who that was?
I said that.
Yeah, that's right. So I want to know, like, because at a certain point, the whole Usher thing, and and you having experiences with stars and how they can be, and just getting older. You're more mature at this point and looking for different things. Like, at what point were you just like, I'm ready to do something different? And what was that transition like?
I know the exact moment. When I
Mm,
set the intention. I'll never forget this. I was walking. My assistant and I were walking down Broadway. I was looking up to the sky when I said this. I'll never
mm,
forget this moment because the shit happened. I was We were walking with bags in our hand. I said, "Don't worry, Kelly. One day we're gonna do a big tour, and we're going to go on tour with somebody really big and just make a ton of money, and we're going to design the whole entire tour, and that's going to be like my my whole, like, just me, my designs, my whole vision, and I can't wait." And I was like, "We're going to do it together, like
mm.
whatever input, And she was like, "Oh, I want to do that too." And then boom, we got the Cheetah Girls and we went on tour.
Wow.
And the whole entire tour, I'm like looking at them on stage. I'm all the way at the top with the lighting guy, and I'm just like, "Oh my God." I remember saying that this is exactly what I want to do because I didn't borrow clothes from nobody. I got everything made for them, from me
Mm.
drawing it and me figuring out what I wanted them to look like. And it was so awesome. I have to say, what an accomplishment. It was, and after that was when I said, okay, like I can like start to bow out. Now I'm in my 30s and
Yeah.
I'm like, I want like a husband. I'm like, uh-oh, I gotta get a baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like start
Right.
focusing on this instead of like all of that. But I needed
Right.
something like that to happen so that I could feel like I did something that I really, really wanted to do to sort of I didn't stop yet, but I
Okay.
just that's when the thought started to percolate. And I have to tell you, Obey, when they say throw it on the wall and whatever sticks. I had four companies. I started the first thing I started was um a doggy company called Bella Fufu. It was
Mm-hmm.
doggy clothes. And then I met this really beautiful girl who and she was stunning black girl who was doing it. And it just felt like, you know what, that's yours. I don't even want to be your competition. And I just stopped.
Yeah.
Then I
Mm-hmm.
did a jewelry line that was so great. I was still styling and Beyonce wore one of my pieces in her that video that she was on that silver motorcycle. I can't remember.
Okay. I don't know.
And but she was like on that silver motorcycle. That video, she wore one of my things, and then all of her runway show for House of Dirty On were all my pieces. So then it was like, oh, you're talented. You could do this jewelry thing. And then as soon as I came out with this stuff, then like Claire's and all the cheap, like big chain jewelry stores started coming out with all my pieces, and I'm like, I'm gonna get casted out because they're gonna
Right.
just make it cheaper, and nobody's gonna pay this big money for my jewelry. So I stopped that,
Right.
and then I decided, boom, I'm a stylist. I'm gonna make tops because really fun, crazy, flirty tops.
Mm-hmm.
That I call Bella Fifi.
Okay.
And I got one of them is on the cover of a magazine, and it for a Japanese artist. And just, anyway, every time I did something, it was like decent, but never
Yeah.
set like was like 100 with me. So
Okay.
now I'm like I'm already married. So
Mm-hmm.
this happened in 2013. I was on one of my last jobs. I've been styling this one artist for 6 years. We're friends at this point, and she
Mm-hmm.
flew me out to LA for a music video. And after the video, her manager, which is now my business partner, myself and her, what we shared in common is like she was at my wedding. She sang the singer sang at my wedding. She was at my wedding. The manager was at my wedding. We're all friends. So doing a
Yeah.
job with the three of us was just always fun. So what
Right.
we all shared in common was we loved crab. So after the
Mm.
video shoot, we went to this crab restaurant that I really kept hearing about. And at this point, I started thinking about crab too. And I was just like, we don't have crab in New York. There's nothing
Yeah.
like it. So we went to this place and the line was around the corner. And I was so mad because that crab was not good. Not good at all. I don't know
Right.
if you've ever been to Melodies in Philly. Oh no, because you're from West Oak Lane. It was in West Philly.
No.
It's
No.
okay. Melodies was one of my favorite crab spots. And it was a bar, and it was like the back of a bar that you had to go. My dad had to walk me in because I had to go to a bar in order to get the crab that I loved.
I know the type of spots you're talking about though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, like, when we saw that, I said to them, I said, I really want to, we're eating. And I'm like, this is not that great. I could do so much better. And I was like, I really want to open up a crab place. And the manager goes, this is not the first time you said it, but I think it's a great idea. And then we didn't talk about it again.
Mm.
Then fast forward to me going to the manager's house, which her name is Gwen. That's my partner.
Mm-hmm.
She did a she was hosting a dinner at her house, so she was cooking, and I was like, I want to open up this restaurant. I'm gonna do it. I'm find the money. I'm gonna do it. I got some money
Yeah.
because I did remember that check from Cheetah Girls
Right.
the
Right.
way. So I knew I had money, so I knew that people would take me seriously because I had some money.
Right.
Like, here's mine. What you gonna put up? This is what we
Right.
need, right?
Right.
So at this point, I knew that whatever all these businesses I started, I was like, this one is something that New York doesn't have, and you can never find anything that New York doesn't have. New York has everything, so I knew I
Right.
had to act fast.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, how serious are you? I was like, very serious. We didn't talk about it again. She calls me one day in December and was like, I'm ready to leave, bad boy. Like, are we doing this for real? I was like, yes, girl, check your inbox. And I sent her the business plan. And she was
Mm.
like, yo, let's go. And 6 months later, we opened up the Crabby Shack. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had no experience in anything. Like I don't even know what a commercial kitchen looked like. Okay.
Right.
Like I waitressed a little bit, but it wasn't even like that. It wasn't like a real restaurant. It was more like tapas and drinks,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah,
what I
yeah. Yeah.
um, but so what we did, because I was like, okay, now you brought some money to the table. This is really happening. So how are we gonna do this? So again, you set your goal, right? So I said,
Mm-hmm.
let's start going to market research. Let's go to restaurants and figure out how to design our kitchen.
Okay.
So I would sit at the bar and wait and flirt and smile and wait until the chef was done. And I'd be like, Chef, can I see your kitchen? What you want to see
Mm-hmm.
my kitchen for? I just, we want to open up a little small restaurant, but we want to see how, everything that's needed and what it looked like back there. So we did
Right.
that a couple times. And then I
Okay.
started writing things down, doing my research for all the things that I knew I needed for the way I cook crab, for as far as I knew, doing all my research.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, it works. My kitchen is still exactly the same as it was when I built it in 2014. And here we are, 2024, about to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. So it's,
That's what's
it's
up.
fun. Yeah, it's really
No,
great.
no, no. That's a beautiful thing, and the cool thing is, you come from a natural. We have the natural ability to style and design. So I'm assuming, I'm sure that some of those talents came into play, and just being resilient and just going after it. You once said you have to dream big, you have to take the leap, no risk, no reward, and I love that, because a lot of times we are afraid, and I want to know, number one, where you think that mentality came from. And I just gotta say congratulations too, because like you said, you didn't know anything about the restaurant business, but you had a dream, something that you wanted to do, and you went after it. You said I had a goal, you did your research, and you kept pushing forward. But where do you think that mentality of I'm gonna get it done, where's that come from?
I mean, I think you touched on it back in the day. Like I was always one of those people. If I said I was going to do something, I did it. But what a downfall about this type of personality is when I'm not
Mm.
passionate about it, it's hard for me.
Yeah.
Like I needed to it's hard for me if I'm not passionate. If I don't truly believe in it in its entirety, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just as lazy as anybody else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd
Yeah.
rather when I'm in that mindset, I just want somebody to tell me what to do and I'll get it done just because, I work hard. So just
Yeah.
tell me what to do. But when it's something that I love and I'm passionate about, there is no failure because that it doesn't
Yeah.
even like there is none of that. So that's also hard because one of the things that, people like to interview my partner and I because she had a very big job. She was a
Mm-hmm.
an executive making 200 and something $1,000 a year and left to open up a restaurant to make peanuts,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, especially for
Right.
the first few years. And it was really disheartening for me to watch because I was like, oh my God, like she was only supposed to sign on for 6 months. I mean,
Okay.
she was going to continue working as a manager in the music industry for 6 months and then give me 6 months of her time to like help out and here and there.
Yeah.
But when we first opened our doors, we had a line and we didn't have enough food. I burnt my arm so bad, a third degree
Mm.
burn, and I had to just put a rag on it and keep cooking.
Wow.
Like anybody else would have went to the hospital with this burn. It didn't heal for a lot, like over a year. Like it's crazy.
Wow.
And so it was like she was like, I can't leave you. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, please don't. Like it was crazy. We were in I didn't see my son. I had to ship my baby who was 18 months old to Maryland with my mom and dad because I couldn't take care of him and be at the restaurant. And it was just like
Wow.
I had to like figure it all out and
Yeah.
had to figure it out. And what better way to do it than to just dive right in. Um, but it's hard. You have to have passion. You have to have
Yeah.
passion and drive. And I'm definitely driven. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very goal driven. But if I don't
Okay.
have a goal, I have to believe in it. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
struggling with actually right now.
Yeah.
right now I am mentally. I'm trying to figure out like the next thing, and I wanted to share something with you.
Mm-hmm.
We had came up with these hot sauces, right?
Okay.
It's it's a season. Sorry. Okay, here we go. And it's a this seasoning is what we use on our shrimp at the store, and
Mm-hmm.
this is something that my partner and I just do personally, like as women, as moms, and how we season our fish. So
Right.
it started off as dry seasonings, but people like it so much that the shrimp, they would say, "Oh, I'm taking this sauce and I'm gonna put it on my eggs in the morning." Like, people will
Mm-hmm.
always leave with nothing in the bag but the juice, and I'm like, "Yo,
Okay.
people love this stuff." So we need to do something with that. And at the time, COVID had already happened, and we were like, we
Mm-hmm.
needed a different money stream, and we were hoping that this was going to be it, but it wasn't. Okay, because people
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like just knocking down my door. It wasn't like I knew how to get these in the supermarket. In fact, it's still not in the supermarket just yet. Like it was, because
Yeah.
I was in the street door to door. But then the guys were like, this is not going to work, you need a distributor. And then you go to a distributor and they're like, well, what stores are you at already? And it's
Right.
still a hustle. um but me being diligent and saying something's got to give. I was like, where do people love to go to buy hot sauce? So I found a store in New York
Mm-hmm.
that only sells hot sauce. So I take the hot sauce and I was like, hi, I was just wondering if you could carry our hot sauce. And the lady said, oh, lemon pepper hot sauce. That's interesting. And somebody from behind the curtain somewhere was like, did I just hear hot lemon pepper? And I've never been in this place before. And she's like, yeah. He was like, do you mind if I try it? And I'm like, sure. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
come on back. So you go in the back and there's like all these hot sauces, and he tries it. He was like, I love it. And
Yeah.
then 2 days later, we get an email and was like, would you want to be on a show called The Hot Ones? And I'm like, what? Yo, Obed, they bought 40,000 units.
Wow.
And that's just what we needed. You know what I'm saying? At the time, like
Wow.
money was low and things were like kind of dwindling, and that this is what they talk about when you pivot. You have to like try and keep, like, you can't give up. Like there's no way I wasn't gonna reach
Yeah.
my 10 year, my restaurant was gonna close because of COVID. Like I was like, there's gotta be some things that I can do. And we took something that we already had, made it into a hot sauce that people loved, and I sold 40, you know what I'm saying? Like 40,000
Yeah.
units. It's like a nice chunk that we really needed.
Yeah.
And this sauce just got bought by the same people, but they only bought 5,000 or whatever. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm currently trying to really, if this is something that we're pretty decent at, then that's why I told you when I got the times wrong, I was making some more hot sauce. I just came up with another one. I was like, well, I'm
Right.
paid up and I don't want to go to the store looking like this right now. Store don't open until 12. So I was like, I'm just gonna make some hot sauce. So you keep busy with stuff that's going to constantly be able to benefit you in the long run. Because if this is a winner, then it's a winner. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right. No, no, 100%. And I mean, just listening to you reminds me of just the fact that I'm a strong believer now. I'm a strong believer in believing in the possibilities. A lot of times we don't believe in the possibilities, especially if people haven't done the thing before, or you have a dream and people don't necessarily believe in that dream. But if it's possible, that's the biggest thing. If a human being can actually do whatever it is that you want to do, I believe is, you talked about passion. If you have that fire and that passion behind that belief, man, you just got to take the steps and get it done.
Just get it done.
You got to take the steps and get
And
it
I
done.
know a lot of people say it's easier said than done. I sometimes on my audiobooks, I'll have to listen to some of my like self-help books that kind of recalibrate, because I fall negative sometimes and I get a little
Mm-hmm.
low, and I have to listen to something that'll like, pick me up. But one thing is for sure, okay, it's easier said than done. I understand that.
Yeah.
But everything that I had said with passion, I say this when I told my assistant. So after, when I looked up to the sky and said, one day we're going to do this, I said it with conviction and love and
Yeah.
passion. I had the vision because that's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to design. I wanted to look at the stage. I remember knowing what see. I remember in my dreams seeing a stage and everybody on there is something that I designed and did. Like I remember
Mm-hmm.
that. So
You
that's why when
envisioned
it
it.
happened, I was like, yo, I manifested that. Like I
Yeah.
believed that I could do that
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. The same thing when I told my husband when I'm 40, I'm gonna open up my own. I'm gonna open up my own business when I'm 40. I didn't say Crabby Shack or anything,
Right.
but it brings tears to my eyes to this day when my husband walked over to me with a congratulations and happy birthday cake because we opened the doors on my birthday, my 40th birthday
Wow.
of Crabby Shack.
That's
Again,
what's up.
another manifestation. So for me to still like have like even hard times is annoying because
Mm-hmm.
I know the work, I know what needs to be done. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like anybody else, it's hard. It's not easy to achieve every single thing because
Yeah.
you have self doubt, you have doubts in your brain, and you're like, and that will steer you the wrong way. The issue with me is I know what I have to do because I've experienced what it feels like to manifest something. But I
Yeah.
also have those moments that it's hard for me to manifest. But believe, like you said, believe that you can achieve it. Say it with conviction, know it, and just feel it inside your bones. And I guarantee
Yeah.
you it's gonna happen.
And the world, and then what happens is the universe just kind of makes a way. I spoke in Kauai, I don't know, maybe like a month ago at this point. But we we talk about speaking things into existence, right? So I just knew that like at this point now, wherever I go, I want to give value, right? So we were actually going. We didn't have any plans. I didn't have any speaking engagements or anything like that. But I'm like, I'm gonna give value in some way. I had no contacts. I didn't know anybody there on the island, but I knew what I wanted. I created a list. I started reaching out, and I prepared as if I already had it. And it just kind of came together, and I was able to speak to a couple high school senior groups. And it's so important to speak it into existence, to believe it, and it's hard to really kind of quantify that energy behind the belief, but I believe is essential to manifesting those great things that you can actually do with the talent that you have. And obviously, you have to have some talent. You have to put the you gotta actually hustle and get it done.
Mhm.
But the belief
And that's
piece,
where the discipline comes, right? You got to be
mm-hmm,
disciplined to get it done. You
yeah,
can't, I feel like you can have the dream and the belief, but if you don't
yeah,
put, and some doors will open, but if you don't put
yeah,
in a little bit of work, when that door opens, you may not be prepared. You
right,
understand?
right,
Because I do believe the
right,
belief and the passion and the dream will kind of put you in the right direction. But if you're not
mm-hmm,
prepared
yeah.
for that, for what's to come, then it's not going to work,
It's not gonna happen. No, for sure. All right, because I want to talk a little bit about a little more about challenges because a lot of people out there watching this, a lot of times we allow challenges to get in the way, and so I call them the naysayers and the dream slayers. The naysayers and the dream slayers. What? Because I know that you got some pushback, and Gwen, I'm pretty sure you both got some pushback. High paying positions. You worked all this way to get to be, to have your book the way it is and build a name and bad boy and all that. What were your thoughts and your mentality around people telling you, "No, man, don't do that. That's a mistake."
I mean, I was with somebody yesterday. I give him credit just like he does me, but his name is Chef Roble, and I believe in him and I look up to him. And
Mm-hmm.
when I first decided that we were definitely going to open, he was the first person I wanted to talk to, and to hear him say, "Fee, don't do it, don't
Mm.
do it." Like it's a terrible idea. This is what's going to happen. Blah blah blah. Like he was like, you're going to work so hard. Your margins aren't going to be good. It's seafood. Like, and listen, can I tell you, he was right about 75% of it. He was,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
but that 25% was just like it was just more powerful. And to
Yeah.
this moment, just yesterday, again, he says it every time he sees me. It's like a broken record. He's so funny. But he said it again. He's like, yo, he's like, I'll never forgive myself for trying to steer you the wrong way. And look at you. You succeed like I succeeded where he didn't. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he is still an amazing chef, but he just
Yeah.
didn't open up his own and it with longevity. Let's put it that
Right.
way.
Right.
And so right now he does like consulting and he's super popular. Everybody loves him. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, he to this day says this to me. And, the naysayers are what sometimes can help you, help motivate you even more.
Yeah.
But you also want to take heed because sometimes when people care for you, I have some friends, my very best friends just opened up a very big bar restaurant.
Okay.
And I was like, you guys have two bars and you're in the bar business. I just feel like should leave the food alone and just
Mm.
open up a really big bar and like make it almost like a club light because it's so
Mm-hmm.
big. You can almost have
Mm-hmm.
people dancing. It's like forget the food. Why you want to worry about health departments and waiters and more payroll issues? Like I said all of this.
Yeah.
And they looking at me like, no, I think we can do it. Are you kidding
Right.
me? They are like, I wish we listened to you. Oh my God, right
Yeah.
now. So here's the thing. It's really disheartening when you have somebody that you love that's telling you this because I'm going through it. It hasn't been easy to have Crabby Shack for 10 years,
Yeah.
especially after COVID. I have done
Yeah.
nothing but do this and this since COVID. Yes, I
Yeah.
had my run that was from the beginning. I went, just kept going like this all the way
Mm-hmm.
up until 2020. And then it
Mm-hmm.
went like this, and it's been going down since. And I just think it's more of an economy thing. I think it has a lot to do with the inflation and how much things cost.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so my love for my best friends, and believe me, I go there all the time. I support them, but I was trying to give them the truth. Like, yo, you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want to smoke, but what is impenetrable is a bar because during COVID, bars was popping in New
Right.
York. You
Right.
know what
Right.
I mean? And so just stick with the bars, and they
Right.
didn't listen. So they're in a little bit of a situation right now, and
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to get out of it, and I'm helping in any way that I can.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that the naysayers are. It depends. It's like there's almost like this. If you asking somebody that you know that loves you, there's
Mm-hmm.
going to be part truth to that. So all I'm saying is take a little bit of what they're saying, not everything, because nobody's going
Yeah.
to stop you from doing it. And I wouldn't recommend you not do it because somebody else told you not to.
Right.
I just
Right.
think that there's always some truth to something that somebody loves. Like the haters, who cares about what they say? The people that love you, that are like, I have experience in this, and this is what will happen. I think that take some of that advice
Yeah.
and see how you can mitigate, see how you can, okay, so where was the issues at, and where were
Right.
you short? Ask questions, find
Right.
out why, and so that you can figure out ways to prevent some of those things happening. You know what I
Right.
mean?
No, you
Like
learn from it.
you learn from some of the naysayers too.
Yeah.
So, there's
Yeah, no, I
it's
think it's a fine balance. I mean, I
yeah,
think it's a fine balance because sometimes the naysayers and dream slayers they have fear and they put their fear on your dreams,
yeah,
right? So that can happen, but I think it's also an opportunity, whether it be failure, learning from failure, or learning from the mistakes and the missteps of other people.
yes.
That's a space where you can grow, and in many cases talk about the fear that people put on other people's dreams. That the Crabby Shack was your dream, didn't come to anybody else, right? So because that was your dream, they weren't supposed to see it.
Exactly.
They weren't supposed to see it. But if you can visualize the stage, close your eyes and visualize the stage. If you can close your eyes and you can visualize the restaurant and obviously make things make sense. I'm all for it. I'm all for it for sure.
Dream slayers are, there's always somebody there so that you can just redefine your dream. Sometimes they'll
Hmm.
say something that may like, you know what, I'm gonna, but forget the dream slayers. They are awful. Get out of here. Step away. Go slay your own dream. Stop slaying over here. You don't know nothing about this dream that is in my head or this vision,
Right, right. Okay, so I want to know, just as an African American woman, entrepreneur, right? What kind of challenges have you kind of faced? Maybe one big challenge, but what kind of challenges have you faced just in being who you are and doing what you do in this, in quotes, I'm going to say male dominated space in many cases as far as entrepreneurship. But like, what were some of the challenges that you faced and how'd you get past them?
I think one of the biggest ones is, it's definitely not it's not a secret that black women are the ones that, don't seem to be able to find funding.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to, I could have probably expanded a long time ago,
Yeah.
even with the success of my restaurant, but it didn't. The resources weren't set in place for me. I think that there are a lot of resources now that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people didn't utilize. One time for me, we needed $25,000, so we ended up doing a Kickstarter
Mm.
campaign, and we ended up raising 28,000. But that was, I'm like, thank God we were able to do that, because when we went to the bank, they said no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we had something that we were solid about, that I'm like, dude, I'm going to be successful. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm not a child. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. The banks, it didn't matter to the banks. And I think one of the challenges for us as a company, and us women in general,
Mm-hmm.
is that still, I think. I
Yeah.
also know that there's a lot of people that want to put on panels and tell you, oh, you can contact the SBA, or you can contact this. They give you all these resources, and then you follow up with the resource,
Mm-hmm.
and they're asking you for paperwork that you don't either have, or the paperwork that you fill out is just not substantial enough because you don't have enough
Mm.
history.
Right.
So
Right.
it's definitely challenging, but I think now they have they definitely have put in some stuff in place, like funding and grants, and even for startups, because they wasn't, forget a startup back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
they weren't, like, for small business owners doing a brand new startup that's never been thought of. Oh, I wanted to open up a barbecue sauce business. Yeah, okay. Nobody was doing that. Now
Right.
they have programs. So I definitely recommend going out and looking for programs. One of the programs that I took was called 10,000 Small Businesses, and it's by
Okay.
Goldman Sachs.
Okay.
And Goldman Sachs, that program changed the course of Crabby Shack.
Mm.
Like Crabby Shack, when I say that, I mean, I started looking at my business differently. I
Mm-hmm.
started to understand my numbers better because I
Mm-hmm.
was taught how to. Yes, I'm college educated, but that doesn't mean I know how to look at, or build a spreadsheet that's going to make sense for my business, right? And my
Right.
business model. And so Goldman Sachs taught us that. They also, they had one of the sorry. One of the things that you needed to provide to graduate the program was a
Mm-hmm.
growth plan, a 5-year growth plan. And at
Okay.
the time when we are writing it, it felt like they told you to dream big. They said the universe is the limit. Like, don't even think that there is one. There is no
Mm-hmm.
limitations. And you're writing this stuff, and when I was typing, it felt very hard, because you're like, if you say the sky's the limit, then I want $1 million. Like, you don't want to sound silly, but
Yeah.
you want to feel like you want to write things that are actually attainable. And one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I wrote was to be at the US Open. I wanted to do, like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the biggest thing I could do? I wanted to do, like, Barclays Center, like more arenas. I wanted to do third party um like events where I can license out Crabby Shack to multiple locations and grow in this way. And
Right.
I also wanted to do um retail. I wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
retail, but it wasn't necessarily the sauce. It was actually my food. I wanted to take it into supermarkets and somehow, go that route, right?
Yeah.
And I'm writing all this stuff down, and then they make you write ways on how to get there, and then they actually, like, make you touch upon, basic math, like how much it's going to cost, like budget wise.
Right.
But by the time you're finished this, you don't even realize that you had to dream, really think about all the things that you needed to do. You had to think thoroughly so that you can graduate on, if I want to get to the Barclays Center and the US Open, how am I going to get there? I'm going to contact this person. I'm going to email these people. I'm going to
Right.
walk up to so and so. I'm going to go to a basketball game and see somebody with a chef shirt on, which is what I did. I just want you to know
Mm-hmm.
that's how I got to the Barclays Center, and I'm going to do this, and so then by the end of the freaking growth plan, though, right? I'm at the I'm at my spot is in Barclays Center. I'm looking around. I'm at the US Open, and my advisor, who was my teacher, my advisor, he
Yeah.
came to US Open. I'm behind the counter, like serving food, and he goes like this. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God. And he goes, this was your growth plan. Do you believe
Yeah.
this? This was your growth plan. And I was
Yeah.
just like, yo. So instead of that, like being like a manifestation, that was me. I mean, yes, it was a dream, but it was also just being very, for those people who don't believe it so much like you and I in
Yeah.
manifestation and just dreaming big and like that are a little bit more concrete. Like my husband is a little bit more concrete. He wants to be like literal. He wants to write this stuff down and like make it
Right.
make
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
That's also a form of manifestation though. This growth
Right.
plan that I did is I did the work and I set the roadmap on how
Right.
I was going to get there. And so after I graduated, I didn't even realize I was doing those things. I didn't have to look back at the stupid growth plan. It was already in my head. So it was kind
Right.
of like, oh, okay, so what's the first step? Okay, I got to go to the Barclays Center. Da, 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 da. Okay, then how am I going to get, US Open? Oh, well, we're not going to do food, but we're going to sell nationally. So now I sell my food nationally. So I didn't get it in the supermarket, but I still figured out a way to package it so I can ship it to California, ship it to here, there, and everywhere. And then it's like
Yeah.
now I want to do this and get it in the stores. So like I literally did every single thing. I'm like, I want to go to another program so I can do another growth plan. So this is right now where I'm like, how do I get out of this funk? Because I want to do my next step so bad right now, and I'm itching for
Yeah.
it. And it's
Yeah.
just like it's a little like hard right now for me. But
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
working.
it's no, it's interesting because it kind of takes me into my next piece, which is self-reflection. And I'm just curious of what your thoughts are on self-reflection just in general, but especially self-reflection when it relates to designing your life. When you're a young person or wherever you are in your journey.
So, well, I can look back and be positive and say, I am very proud of a lot of things that I've accomplished. I just showed you,
Mm-hmm.
I just shared with you all these things. And I feel like when I don't actually ever talk about my life the way I did. So
Mm-hmm.
you've actually helped me. You took me from when I was a child all the way till now. And so
Yeah.
actually talking about some of my accomplishments is, believe it or not, instilling positive vibrations in me because I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about things that I've actually accomplished that's making me feel good, right?
Yeah.
So when I self-reflect, I have to say that I'm hard on myself because
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this funk right now because I'm like I'm so goal driven, but I can't be driven unless I'm excited about something. And this
Yeah.
is my biggest downfall because I have to be excited about something. And I'm like, 10 years in this restaurant business, it's like, but how much more? You know what I mean? Like my next step, I said, is going to be, I'm definitely going to try and get all of these sauces. I got two new sauces on the horizon into like Target, but I think that
Yeah.
Target should have my crab mac and cheese too. And I think that Target, once I get in the door, I want to introduce them to my crab and corn chowder that I have packaged in a way that I can ship all over the United States. So if I can ship it to the United States, then you can't have it in your freezer or your fridge. So like
Yeah.
now I'm thinking like doing like going that route with the business, but am I like super passionate about trying to knock down doors? Not really. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm just not. So I reflect on myself, and because I'm so goal driven, I'm really hard on myself too. So when I'm not accomplishing something, I'm so hard on myself because I start to
Mm-hmm.
call myself lazy. I'm like, well, you're just not doing anything. So today when I had like instead of going to the gym, the guilt set in, and I'm like, okay, do something productive, make a sauce. And I did. So it's like you got to constant, it's like mind tricks so that you don't fall
Yeah.
short. But it's not always easy. I want people to know I'm not like this. With the way I said my story, it sounds like I'm like this trailblazer, like, oh, whatever I say I'm going to do, I did. I'm at the US Open. That's what it sounds like, but it's easier said than done. And I want people to understand that. I understand that. But everything that I said I accomplished, I put in the work. I did the work. And that's why
Yeah.
I'm at the US Open. I did the work. So, how to get out this funk that I'm in now is like, I just got to really dig deep. Like, how can I get out of
Listen.
this, Mr. Positive? Help me
Listen. No, listen. I'm gonna tell you this right now. First of all, let's rewind on the. I'm not a trail. You are a trailblazer. 100%. You're a trailblazer. I mean, the things that you've accomplished, yeah, you have some help, your mom, and a different thing, but the fire inside that got you on the court when the boys told you that what you're doing over here, that's a part of it. Going across the world basically and essentially falling into a space and having all those experiences are trailblazing feats. Crabby Shack, Gucci. I mean, all those things, and they sound. I don't want them to sound shiny. I don't want them to sound like shiny things because, people use Gucci and Bad Boy and all that. I mean, it becomes a shiny thing. But I think that when I talk about self-reflection, I think about when someone's at the beginning of the journey and they're trying to figure out who they are and what they want to do and spending some time with themselves, some intentional time with yourself to figure out what it is that I love, that I enjoy, that I'm passionate about, things that I do well without any type of effort, and that allowing you to find your special, right? We can be harder on ourselves than we should be in many cases. Clearly you're not lazy. But like a friend of mine, my Italian friend Irene, she can't if it's not challenging for her, she gets bored, and those are her words, and that's okay. Like that's like self awareness. Like who you are, you know where you need to be, you know what type of spaces you like to work in, and that's a good thing that you know who you are. I mean, I would just encourage you to spend some intentional time, some quiet time thinking about what you want to do in terms of what's going to feel good. Charles Barkley used to say how he never worked before, right? He never worked before because everything he did was basketball related, which is essentially something that he enjoys and something that he loves. And if it doesn't have that thing that lights you up, it's okay to say no to it,
Mhm.
because being who you are and having all the opportunities that have basically come your way in the relationships, it feels like there's going to be opportunities coming your way and people are going to be kind of throwing things, ideas at you. But
Mhm.
if it doesn't line up, it doesn't line up. I
Yeah.
found power in one of the most powerful words in the English language, which is no. Some
Right.
sometimes you got to
No,
say
I
no.
definitely have said no to like events they might ask me to do, and I'm like, that's not sitting well with
Yeah,
my brand. Like, I don't want to be around that. I'm not
yeah.
like that. Just there's certain things that we definitely don't do. But I think when you reach that 10-year mark,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to say because I'm not saying I don't know what to do next. Like I'm trying to do something different. It's just
Yeah.
how to pivot again and make Crabby Shack relevant. One of the ways that I guess you're right. I'm not lazy because I just reached out. I filled out a thing called Pepsi Dig In, and they're
Okay.
helping you. It's a 1 month program that you meet with on Zoom, and they help you with like your presence in the back of for all the third party delivery um, services like Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash and stuff. And so
Got
what
it.
they're doing is they're showing me that I'm not consistent across the board. I mean, they're just giving me some advice and
Okay.
one of the perks is they provided a photo shoot for me because they noticed that I didn't waste. A lot of photographers charge after 25 shots, and
Mm.
I just don't take a picture of a lemonade or I didn't take a picture of a corn on a cob. You know what I mean? But this time
Mm-hmm.
they were like, but I'm going to pay for you to do that. Like, take a picture of the lemonade, take a picture of the corn on the cob and the broccoli and the potatoes. You know what I mean? Like, I was
Okay.
taking pictures of all my big dishes and stuff and just what's relevant, like for me, because I didn't want to pay double the price just for some corn. I could find corn on the internet in my mind.
Right.
They're
Right.
like, no, let's make it consistent and let's do it this way or whatever. And so they've helped me, and the program is about to end. And I'm doing a really big push to sort of gain access to a lot of my customers by asking them to order directly through me because obviously Grubhub and Uber Eats take a larger percentage,
Yeah.
15 to 20%.
Yeah.
15% is the max that they capped in New York, but then they add on these like 5% for, let's say, a driver like Grubhub just emailed me and was like, it's over. So we're charging you 15% for every delivery on top of the 5% that you signed your contract with. So now my percentage with Grubhub is 20% off of my already margin. And that's if I get a 40% margin. So they're already, you
Yeah.
understand? It's not.
Yeah.
So now my big push is to, what I'm working on now is I got somebody working on some flyers that I'm going to put in the bags, and
Mm-hmm.
just doing like a big push on trying to get more deliveries in our on our website, because then I don't have to pay all these fees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
other ways. Like I'm constantly trying to do stuff, but I'm like, what is passionate about when I used to like, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm looking for. So, and I
Yeah.
feel like my business thrives better when I feel that way about it. You know what I mean? And
Right.
at this point, I just feel like I keep just trying to dig us out of some sort of hole, or
Mm-hmm.
find a way. And that kind of gets disheartening. But I know that my brand is 10 years in and 10 years deep for a reason,
Yeah.
because of the work that we put in, the love. And I think that has a lot to do with it. And Gwen and I, we're like the yin, she's the yin to my yang. So we work well together as well. So that helps as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, again, I just encourage you just to keep being creative. You know, keep being creative. Think outside the box. You talked about different programs that you are involved in. So I know that there is a level of respect for mentorship and relationships and things like that. And as long as you continue to have that vision and continue to have the drive to do it, if you will, I think you're going to look in the sky and it's going to come to you. I think you're going to look up and it's going to come to you, that idea, because of the energy that you're putting out there. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's not going to go for naught. So I just want to say that. Okay, so I want to play a game with you real quick.
Okay.
All right, it's called Imagine If.
Okay.
Imagine If. Imagine if you could sit with any three historical figures, dead or alive, for a meal at the Crabby Shack. Who are they, and what's that conversation about?
Oh my God. Three people.
Three people, women, men, dead or alive, that you like to sit down and knock down a lobster with, or whatever it may be.
Okay. I would say Gandhi, Michelle
Mm.
Obama, and um, um,
Gandhi, Michelle.
Gandhi, Michelle Obama, and I want to be. I don't want to say just anybody. Business. Okay. I want to
Who
meet.
it could be who you want.
Oh, like somebody that somebody
Whoever
cute.
you,
No.
whoever, whoever you want.
Oh, like a
You already
cutie.
had you already had Denzel in the shop, so I don't know.
I know. Gandhi, Michelle,
Gandhi, Michelle.
and I'd say Alan Iverson. I don't know.
Allen Iverson. Okay, all right.
Love him to
Allen
death.
Iverson. All right, that'll be an
Maybe and
interesting.
Michelle would do it for me.
That'll be an interesting conversation. I wonder what Al Iverson would have to contribute to that conversation with Gandhi and Michelle Obama. Probably had him crying or
Well,
something. I don't know.
Gandhi will help. He would just explain about enlightenment and being conscious and just all
Mm-hmm.
the things that I want to learn and understand more. And then Michelle, just being Michelle, will
Yeah.
just black girl rocks. Like she would just
Yeah.
instill all the confidence, and I would just pick her brain about almost everything. And I was trying to think of somebody super business savvy that I'd like to meet with, but I don't, uh, you know,
Yeah, it'll
um,
come. It'll come to you, and then when it does come to you, you should reach out to him. You never
okay.
know. You should reach out to him. Okay. Imagine if you could have the ear of all the girls around the world from 10 years old to 18 years old for 5 minutes. What would you talk to them about?
I would talk to them about self love,
Mm,
confidence, not. Don't not being a how to not be a follower and always lead in your own path, walk your own path. Um, I would tell them that you might think it's deep, but it's not that deep, boo. It's not that serious. It is not that serious. I would tell them to dream big and never give up. I would tell them, um, I would tell them to, love yourself, but also, you know, be open for love. A lot of these young girls, sorry, a lot of them are right now. I'm dealing with my staff who neither one of them have boyfriends, neither one of them, none of all three
Okay.
of them. And it's a reason for that because they'd be like, his shoes, and that's so corny. Like, you can change
Right.
his shoes. You can just
Right.
get him a
Right.
new pair. Like, why are
Right.
you making something? So buy him a new pair of sneakers if you hate them that much. Next,
Right.
so it's like silly. And a lot of women are alone, and I don't like that. A
Hmm.
lot of women are single these days. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I would tell them that, like self confidence, and also support each other. Be a great
Yeah.
mom. Get your education,
Yeah.
and don't let nobody tell you that you can't.
Imagine if you can give your younger self advice about design, about how to design your life. What would it be?
If I gave my younger self advice on how to design my life,
Yeah. On life design, basically.
well, I feel like I did a good job at that already, didn't I?
I
Okay,
think
so
so.
how do
And
I
if
think?
you say you wouldn't do it any different, then that's cool too.
I mean, honestly, when you just had me reflect the way that I just did, I can't.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm so grateful for this conversation. I have to say,
That's what's
um,
up.
I definitely have the way that you allow me to go back and reflect has
Yeah.
literally instilled like a positive vibration in me right now. Like, so I appreciate that.
No,
And
that's
I
what's
think
up.
that anytime when you have adversity, you learn from all your mistakes. So the way I put things together, I'm very happy. Like when I was selling my toys, and that was given back to somebody who didn't have it for 5 cents. When I
There you
was
go.
giving somebody a ride, that was me making money, but also giving back somebody who want to ride my bike who probably didn't have one. Like,
Right,
I
right.
just feel like it was I did pretty good. If I told my younger self, I wouldn't do anything different. Just always believe in yourself and be a good person. Be a
There you
good.
go. There you go. There you go. All right. So we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. I just got a couple more. Um, I want to know what you would tell this person. There's someone with a dream, right? But this person has a dream, something that they're passionate about, something that they is really on their heart, right? But they don't have support from the people that they love the most, the people that they would turn to the most for support. What do you tell them?
If the people that
So
if
they have a dream, they have this thing that they want to do,
right.
right? That they love, that they're passionate about, but the people that are closest to them don't support it. Don't
What
feel
would I
like they
tell
can
them?
don't feel like they can do it. Yeah, what would you tell them?
Oh, no, that's just talking about the dream slayer. Stay away and stay focused. Stay focused
Yeah,
on your dream. Ask these naysayers, what is the reason? What are some of the reasons that you're saying this for? Give me points. Give me detailed reasons so that I can research those and figure out a way to mitigate that. Like, but
yeah,
don't tell that slayer to back up. Like, unless you have
right.
concrete evidence that you're gonna tell me so that I can learn from, then back up, bro.
Okay, now flip it. We talked about designing your life, and this is what this is all about. And there's a person that wants to design their life. They feel like having a fulfilled life around things that they're passionate about is really important and really a cool thing, right? But they have no idea what their special is. They have no idea what their talent is. They have no idea what their dream is. Where should they start?
They have no idea what a dream is.
They don't know what they want to do. I mean, the people around them, they just go to work every day, and there's nothing special in
I'm
the
sorry. I'm gonna
environment.
have to tell that person to meditate because if you don't, I feel like unfortunately, I don't know if I have a great answer for that because I just believe that if you have no idea, you got to start somewhere. I mean, do you know how to
Yeah,
knit? Do you
there
like to
you go.
sew? you like to watch movies? Maybe you could be a movie critic. Like, there's got to be something that you got to
Self
start.
reflection. Self reflection is what
So
I'm hearing. Yeah, you got to think about you.
think about you and what moves you, what makes you happy, all of
Right,
that.
right. Okay, perfect. Tell us any new projects you have going on, and talk to us about how we can learn more about the Crabby Shack and where we can find you.
So the Crabby Shack is, you can find us on our website. It's www.thecrabbyshack.com. We are also on Instagram at the Crabby Shack. We have, we're about to do the US Open. We have some hot sauce coming out on the horizon. And we have launched a new chicken concept called Side Piece. And that is a really yummy, like opposite of Crabby Shack chicken menu. And you can find that on our, a little bit of information on www.sidepiecebk.com. Um, but yeah, we have things coming. We just still percolating. The ideas are still percolating.
There
The
you
dreams
go,
are still
percolating.
percolating. Yes.
It's percolating.
Yes.
All right, the last question I have is, I truly believe that people that have crafted and designed a beautiful life, a fulfilling life, they know other people that have crafted beautiful lives. So I want you to give me, I want you to think about a name, but before you think about and give me that name, it has to be someone that you can try to help us get on the show.
I was gonna say my friend Estelle Francis, but she um
Estelle Francis.
yeah, she's really dope, but I don't know if you're gonna get her on the show. But I should tell
That's
her
all
like all
good.
these questions is so self-reflecting that she
Hey, you never
enjoyed
know.
it. You never know, but
You
she's
never know.
like one of my closest friends. But to see what she
Yeah,
has done, we started at the very bottom as well, and she's like soaring right now.
yeah.
She is doing exceptional at the moment, and I'm so proud of her. She's chilling, chilling, and I'm
That's
just
what's
like,
up.
wow, that was my BFF, and we was running these streets together. So yes, she's doing
There
really
you
well. So
go.
I would think Estelle, yeah,
Awesome, awesome. Fifi,
yes.
man, I'm here in California. You're in New York. I wish I could reach out and hug you, but I just want to say thank you so much. Wow, that was an amazing conversation. I mean, I told you her energy, the smile, the energy that I feel just talking with my friend, and the jewels and the information and the resources that she was able to share. I know I learned a lot about Fifi, and I know her from so many years ago. But hopefully, you got something out of that conversation, because if you can believe it, if you can close your eyes and envision the win and see yourself in it, it's possible. And it's so important to believe it. You got to do the work. There's no getting around it. But it starts with the belief inside that you can actually do it, knowing that you're a champion. So I just want to say thank you to Fifi for having give us some of her time. But I want you to remember, as we close this out, that you are a champion. You have the ability to design your life and win. It's all about you making the decision. Decide that you are going to move into a certain direction and get it done. Next week, we'll have another exciting guest. I'm really excited about our guest for next week. But for now, remember, you are a champion. Design your life. Peace.
You gotta dream it, like you mean it. Embrace the vision, no need to conceal it. Feeling myself, you used to call it so bright. Aim for the stars, reach new heights. Align your life, don't let it design you. Chase your dreams, make them all come true. Dance to the rhythm, move with the beat. You're the creator, get up on your feet. Yeah, you gotta dream it, like you mean it. Embrace the vision, no need to conceal it. Dream masterpiece, the color so bright. Aim for the stars, reach new heights. Design your life, don't let it design you. Chase your dreams, make them all come true. Dance to the rhythm, move with the beat. You're the creator, get up on your feet.